I always say the oil and gas drilling funds for accredited and high income earners is like the best kept secret.
She purchased a property 15 years ago now out in Vegas. Put little into it. It's just land. I think right around $100,000 it was purchased for. That property is now worth probably around $7 million.
Clients come to us after they sold the property and they go, oh my gosh, I paid $500,000 in taxes. He goes, Tommy, I don't want this. I don't want to manage it because my dad used to make me pick up cigarette butts in the parking lot. It was a strip center.
Now you've got nine bosses and they're your siblings, right? Yeah. You used to beat each other up when you were kids. The family that owned one of the ranches portrayed in the show Yellowstone sold for like $350 or $400 million in Texas a few years ago.
Hey guys, this is Tommy Thompson and Justin Keeney for Unlock Your Passive Lifestyle podcast. Today's guest is Katie Rienas, licensed financial representative with us here on the team. We're going to get into everything alternative investment related. What is that? 1031 exchanges, DSTs, her background on how she comes from a family that manages real estate and the difficulties behind that and how you can transition to be passive. And also the best kept secret in investing, oil and gas. So we have Katie Rienas on today, somebody we work with every day.
Lucky Katie.
Yeah,
I am.
But Katie's in town, so we decided we'd have her down for a conversation. Yeah, talk about your experience with real estate, pre-Fortitude, right? Pre working with our team. And your background's interesting, and we get into it a lot of times when we're talking to clients because your family owns real estate, and not just real estate, but a luxury RV park, which is in and of itself sort of interesting, right?
Definitely.
People think mobile homes. It's not the same, right?
Yeah.
But even like before we get into that, it's, with what we do, I mean, we're like, in commercial real estate and institutional real estate. And, my background is like, my dad owned a plumbing and heating company growing up. So I know like kind of the construction side of stuff, which is kind of unique for me. But I mean, your dad's been in commercial finance for 30 plus years. You were like around all these convos and everything growing up, like, hearing them on the phone. How has that kind of like, just shaped you getting into everything that we're doing, just being around that, growing up around it?
Yeah, I would say you don't realize all that you pick up at that age. I mean, but from the many conversations I've heard him have with clients and then also with just other business professionals in this industry, I think the number one thing I would say I picked up on is the importance of these relationships. And not to toot my dad's horn, but, he has that trust and credibility in what he does. And I think that bases from those client relationships and those business relationships that he's developed along the way. So I would say that's probably the main thing I've picked up on. And then also just the terms in the industry. I didn't realize I would pick up on what I did, but
the jargon, the language, right?
All the language. Yeah.
There was less of a learning curve for you.
A little bit less, which was nice.
Yeah.
All the abbreviations.
NOI, right? LTV, right? That's the 101 class.
Yeah.
But I mean, talking about relationships, I mean, there are folks that your dad works with that we've been fortunate enough to meet and do some business with at times that, you grew up calling uncle. Yeah. Essentially, right? I mean, there were started as business relationships of your fathers that became such close relationships that, his daughter, views them as family.
Definitely,
right?
Yeah.
Which is very cool. And again, just kind of, I think, speaks to the depth of those relationships.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, your dad's like so well respected and he's so good at what he does, So I mean, just being around those convos is like it. Some people don't get into real estate or commercial real estate until they're like 30 or 40 years old, and it's like all brand new to them. So, I mean, that's just such a unique background, I feel like. How has that helped you getting into what we do? Like, really, I mean, like, do you have more of a passion about it, or do you, just feel, kind of like, you're in the right space? I mean, how did you know getting into this was something that you wanted to do, and was it a part because of your background that you had?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely part of due to my background in the industry. Growing up, obviously having your own business, it's a lot of work that goes into it. But fortunately, he was still able to be there for, my sports and still be around to raise me, which is nice. So I think the flexibility that this industry gives us was something that I definitely loved. But also, as an entrepreneur, you're able to make your own schedule essentially. And it's nice to be able to have that work balance life. But as far as like confidence of going into this industry, yes, definitely having that background and being around the commercial real estate space for as long as I have, I think it was a no-brainer when this opportunity came.
Felt comfortable.
Definitely.
Right? Like when you kind of, it's funny. I joke, it's like, you leave a 9-to-5 job, for the folks that have worked in a corporate environment. Yeah. To go work for yourself. And it's like, so you give up the 9-to-5 so that you can go work for yourself 24/7. Right.
It essentially you do, but you work at the hours you need to.
Yeah, right. It's a lot but it is. It's as flexible as you want it to be, so long as you work at it.
Exactly.
And so having, seeing that as a child, now having a child of your own, that's attractive. I was fortunate. Your dad worked for himself. My father worked for himself. Yeah. Residential mortgages. And he was very present, but also sometimes he wasn't,
Yeah.
There were nights. There were nights where he got home very late, like very frequently, it wasn't, home by 5:30. It was home by, 7 and, join us at dinner before bed or whatever.
Yeah.
But he was always there at lacrosse games. And I know your dad coached you in basketball.
He did. Right? That was fun.
So, pros and cons, but it's kind of a life that, that you get to shape yourself as opposed to, being at the beck and call of an
somebody
employer.
else. Yeah, right? Exactly.
Yeah, and the sports side too. I mean, we're like kind of hovering around it. It's like we're all athletes. Katie, you were the captain of your college basketball team, right?
I was.
And I mean, just saying that, it's like there's so much that goes into that, like leading up to that point, right? All the practices, everything. You said your dad, he was. I've heard stories, a little intense.
He was a little crazy. You can say it.
How do you think sports has kind of shaped you into how you approach everything today?
It was helpful, I think, with time management, especially being a college athlete. Yeah. You have a lot to balance at that young age, when others are so focused on, let me go here, let me be with my friends. You don't have time for that.
Right.
You're, getting your schoolwork done, preparing for tests, preparing for games, and then, obviously juggling the many hours of weightlifting and practice and things that go into it. So I think
6 a.m. workouts, right? 5 a.m. workouts.
Oh no, my coach was 5 a.m. It was rough, but it taught me a lot, especially with the time management, but also with the importance of teamwork.
Yeah.
I think in today's world, people are so scared to rely on others. But obviously it's so important to have a good team behind you and, have people who uplift you as well as like help you when, you need it. And it's not bad to have others to lean on.
We were talking a little bit earlier about, like the work ethic that comes with athletics as well. Inherently playing sports at a high level, whether it's college or professional. And I mean, your husband played professional, sports for a moment. A few moments. I don't want to sell him short. But, inherently you are practicing during the season for a game, right? Or a meet or a match, whatever your sport is. In the off season, there are off-season workouts. There's an off-season lifting program. You're working on your skills. There's a lot of delayed gratification built into athletics that I think plays really well in work and business in general, but then specifically in real estate and wealth management where, a single transaction can make or break your year, from an income perspective, right? So you put a lot of work and effort in, waiting for that opportunity, to arrive.
Got to be ready.
Yeah.
Got to be ready. I mean, that's the thing with sports is like, you put all the time in for that one game day or whatever it is. And, a lot of people don't know what went in, behind the scenes. Right. It's like, we always talk about this, like stay sharp, know the deals, make the calls, do all that stuff because it all keeps you sharp. And then you get that one call and it's like, you're ready and you're confident, You know,
Yeah.
sports, I mean, I'm a big team sports guy. I play team sports, not golf, like solo sports and stuff like that. So I hear what you're saying. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like one person's really good at this, another person's really good at that. And when you have that kind of all put together, you know, like a puzzle piece, it's like, that's like so powerful, man. It really is. But you know, another thing too is a lot of people don't know, Justin alluded to it in the beginning, but you know, your dad's been investing, your family's been investing in real estate for years.
Yeah.
And you have a really unique background in working on site at the motorcoach resort, which kind of like tailors perfectly into the rest of the convo with what we do. Like
Yeah.
you have been on site, getting to see the behind the scenes of what your family's gone through to be able to make it what it is today through all the management. And it's been a lot of management. Can you talk about the RV park?
Yes, certainly. It's pretty hands-on. I don't think you realize, especially in the hospitality side of things, all that goes into running a resort, and specifically a Class A motor coach resort. That's like the top of the line. And those people can be they can be a handful, but there's so much that goes into successfully running like hospitality motor coach resort. As far as, you know, obviously you have a lot of personalities in it. You have the day-to-day things. You can walk in there with so much to do and nothing gets done. I mean, there's always something more important put on your plate, whether
putting
it's
out fires.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, putting out all the different fires. So much goes into it, though. I don't even know where to start.
Well, it's interesting, right? And especially you use the term resort, and that's, I think, an accurate term, right? Because it is very high end. I mean, it's Class A, right? So these are, you know, successful people that have very high end, you know, coaches, right?
Yeah.
Rigs, you know, $1 million recreational vehicles, right? You know, who expect a positive experience, you know, a very high end experience, and the, you know, the property's gorgeous, right? And, you know, testament to the folks that built it, which I think, you know, your dad capitalized on, you know, some distress and bought a property, invested well.
He did.
Well, not only that too, I mean, you guys kind of timed it like perfect. I don't know if you meant it or not. I mean, we've known Randy for a long time, and I remember when he bought it, but COVID happened. And like
That
COVID
industry
happened and the
boomed.
RV industry just exploded. I mean, talk about that, because you guys were like boots on the ground, selling lots there. And just for people that don't know, I mean, this place, like Justin said, it's Class A, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the clubhouse is gorgeous. I've never known of an RV park that has an infinity pool. So like, you know.
A lot of maintenance goes into that too.
What was that like during COVID? Like,
Yeah.
you guys must have worked so hard during that period because you were so busy.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think obviously during COVID, a lot of people weren't going into work. Unfortunately, we were. It was a lot. It was not by design, but our timing couldn't have been better. The motor coach industry boomed at that time because everyone couldn't get on flights, of course, and still wanted to be able to travel and go out and about. So yeah, everybody bought up a lot of different motorhomes and kind of got on the road. And then that way it's nice. You get to travel with your family. You get to travel with your pets, see the world in ways you wouldn't on an airplane. But yeah, no, we sold off within a 3-year span. I think we sold all but 6. Like, we sold these sites quickly.
That's of 100? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, well. And on top of that, I mean, we're here in South Florida, right? So, you know, during COVID, post-COVID, you know, lockdowns and restrictions and things like that, Florida, Texas, right? We're probably 2 of the more sort of lenient states or
definitely. And everyone wanted to come here.
So you have these people that may have been coming here in the off season in the wintertime anyway, but now they're spending more time here. And if they're going to spend more time here, they might as well buy themselves a house on wheels and, you know, for $1 million or $2 million and drive it on down, right? How much of those lots sell for typically?
So right now they're right around $300,000.
$300,000.
Back when we started out, they were right around $150,000.
So $300,000 for a
and
plot.
That's a standard. Yeah, correct. You also have the ones that have been developed now.
Yeah.
So those ones that have like the tiki hut or the hardtop structures, or even what we call a casita, little small home, but you can't put anything in it thanks to Palm Beach County. So it goes up from there depending obviously on how developed the site is.
And to be clear, these plots are a little bit bigger than you know, a an 18-wheeler, right? I mean, a little bit bigger than like a large motor
Yeah,
coach.
the standard square footage of it's about 3,400 square feet.
3,400 square feet for a lot that's got some hookups to utilities.
Correct.
Maybe a tiki
build
hut.
it out.
Maybe a tiki hut and a spot to park.
Yeah.
Right, for $300,000.
Well, I mean, I remember going there and it wasn't as built out. And now you go there today and it's like so cool, man. All the tiki huts everybody built and all the outdoor grills and patios and everything. It's so cool. And a lot of people don't know, just getting into kind of like a little bit what we do. We found out during that if you own multiple of those lots and you're not using it most of the year and you own a couple of them, you can even like 1031 exchange.
You can.
Those RV lots too, which is really cool. I mean, we just had a call earlier. A guy owns a cell tower. So he's going to 1031 exchange the cell tower proceeds. You have air rights in New York. You know, there's all these like niche areas that people don't know about. And you have RV lots that you can 1031.
We had a guy actually 1031 into about 6 of those RV sites.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
About 1.8 million, right, for 6 sites. Right, and then the
Rents
lots
them
are
all. Yeah.
and then the lots are rented through the business,
Correct,
right?
yep.
Which is pretty cool.
It is.
And so you've got a colorful group, you know, again, successful kind of wealthy people,
Yeah.
you know, who can afford $500,000, $1.5 million, you know, motor coaches. A lot of them
We
are
refer
like
to them as land yachts.
land
It's like
yachts.
almost like having a hobby.
There you go. Yeah. And just like a yacht, a real yacht, it's very expensive, right?
Exactly. A lot of maintenance goes into those. Yeah.
Not to mention the gas, right?
Oh, yeah.
Also like a real yacht. But I mean, that's kind of perfect too. So it's interesting as we even talk this out, like, you know, before you were working with Tommy and I and part of our team, I mean, you were working with people like that anyway on the investment side of things, right?
Exactly.
And, you know, sort of helping them invest in not just their motor coach, you know, lots, but also like alternative investments, right? Real estate and stuff like that. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So my prior company, before I was thankful enough to join you guys, we focus a lot more on the alternative sides of things. I did a lot of oil and gas still, which helped me coming over here as well. But a huge focus more with industrial, hospitality, and some multifamily as well.
Just folks with cash,
Exactly.
looking to invest, not stock
Yeah.
market stuff, just invest with groups that operate those types of real estate assets.
Exactly. Yeah. So now obviously coming over here and learning more about the 1031 exchange and the DSTs, it's nice to be able to offer my clientele that. I mean, these are obviously people who have that type of cash to just invest in real estate. They also own the real estate.
Right.
You know, we've come across, I have a current client now that had I not joined you guys, I would have never been able to offer it to her. And I don't think she would have ever sold.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nope.
What talk about that situation a little bit? What is this
yeah,
client?
so she's actually done quite a bit of alternatives with me. She purchased a property 15 years ago now out in Vegas. Put little into it. It's just land. I think right around $100,000 it was purchased for. That property is now worth probably around $7 million.
Wow,
crazy.
She has held on to it for forever. I mean, she didn't really have any ideas on what to do. And then when we introduced the DSTs to her, it was a no-brainer. I think within a month she did a drop and swap, and now here we are. She's looking to sell it.
Yeah, that's
So just being able to offer that to your clientele and having a solution, it really can drive business and help them fit their needs and their goals instead of just continuing to put the money into this land that's not making you anything.
right. And there's carry costs, and there's property taxes,
Exactly.
you know, and things like that.
I love it too, because your background with the motor coach, it's like you see like boots on the ground, like how hard it is to manage the properties yourself.
Right.
So when we're
It
encountering
is.
people and they're like, yeah, I own this like 36 unit apartment building, or I own this, you know, whatever industrial property with multiple tenants. I mean, you can talk the talk because you're like, hey, my family, you know, I've helped them manage this RV park and I know how labor intensive it is. So having these like 1031 passive, you know, investment solutions kind of like fits perfectly into your wheelhouse. Can you talk a little bit about that? Just how you can kind of talk the talk when you encounter clients that want to retire and are tired of management?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. The hassle that me and my family have faced over the years. It's a condominium association, the motorcoach resort, and keeping up with the rules and regulations in any condominium association is a hassle of its own. But add on top everything else, to me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, we work with these sponsors that, they're vetted in the industry. They have the credibility. They have the 45 years of experience that we can, bring to our clients and say, look, this is what they do. This is who they are. I understand it's hard to get out of physically owning your own real estate. Obviously, being hands-on, you're able to, what is the word I'm looking for? You're able to be more hands-on with physically owning that property, so things will go the way that you want them to go.
Right.
And I understand it is hard to basically trust your money with somebody else.
Yeah.
Exactly, and let go of it. But that's why the credibility and the trust comes into
track record.
being a big part in the track record,
That's
of course.
That's a great point too. I mean, you understand like the relationship between the family and the real estate.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like your baby, right? I mean,
you
made it what it is. So to let go, you're saying, is like you feel that when you're talking to someone, you're like, listen, I get it too.
Yeah.
I mean, my family's owned and operated this forever, and we made it what it is today. We're proud of it. And it's kind of tough to
It is hard to let go, but it's also very rewarding to let go.
Yeah, because you made it, worth more money probably through that process. I didn't even really think about that. But I mean, the relationship between the owner and the real estate, it can go deep. I mean, we talked to a guy that owned 36-unit apartment building in California. They've owned it for years. It's like their baby, their property. It's hard to let go.
It is.
I'm working with a group of clients currently that have owned, property in Virginia for multiple generations, right? And I was talking to one of the women recently, one of the siblings, right? There are 9 siblings.
Oh, wow.
They had 9 kids. Can you imagine? I just had my first. That seems pretty tough. Times 9. I mean, but they're finally selling these warehouses in Virginia, and they've been in the family for at least 2 generations. There's some identity tied to that. So it is. It's.
And you'd think one of them would want to manage the real estate, but of all 9, nobody wants to manage.
Well,
it.
I think the more the more people get involved, the less any single one person wants to manage, because now you've got 9 bosses and they're your siblings, right?
Yeah.
And you used to beat each other up when you were kids. So now they definitely don't want to manage the property because they're answering to, because sometimes the family's a little too close, right? It's a little too family.
I could see that, yeah.
Well, and plus it's funny too. Like I talked to a guy years ago, and you'll appreciate this. He was inheriting the property from his father, and he goes, Tommy, I don't want this. I don't want to manage it because my dad used to make me pick up cigarette butts in the parking lot. It was a strip center. So like to somebody else looking at the property, they wanted to buy it and they wanted to redevelop it and the whole thing. For him looking at it, it reminded him of all the work his dad made him do on the property. So he was happy to sell it. He wanted to get out of it and roll into something else because it just reminded him of all of those memories that he had of like picking cigarette butts up in the parking lot and, whatever. So he just looked at the property a little differently.
Yeah, I can honestly say, I mean, with the motorcoach resort, my family, we own the rental program, but we also still have 6 sites. We'll have that for the next 45 years. If my dad doesn't sell that and I inherit it, I will sell it.
Yeah.
After seeing all the work that goes into that. And obviously now working here, I don't have the time.
Well, and being intimately involved with the operations, right?
Yeah.
And more intimately involved than your siblings, right? And so you know exactly what the pain points are, right? So you say, listen, this is not, again, Tommy, to your point, somebody might look at this and say, this is a cash cow, right? This is, no brainer. But
it is
the underbelly, so to speak.
I'd agree with them, but
and so you're like, I know it well enough to know that I want out, let somebody else deal with it. And that's not to denigrate what a good business it is. It's just not the business that you want to be in.
Exactly. Yeah. I've done it for long enough.
Yeah. And so it was a perfect match having you come on board with us because we still do the alternatives, right? We still have the development funds. We still have the acquisition funds. It was just a bolt-on to have the 1031 DST,
Definitely.
vertical, the opportunity zone vertical. We still do oil and gas for high income earners. I want to talk a little bit about the alternative side, because I don't think a lot of people really understand what that even means, right? So alternative investments can be, hey, if you don't want to go out and develop a property yourself in, Houston, Texas, or Nashville, Tennessee, and you want to invest like an institution, they say, you can invest 50 grand or 100 grand and go into something that's shovel ready with a sponsor that has a long track record. I mean, that's kind of your background. That was what you were coming out of. Can you just talk a little bit about the alternative space, why you liked it, and kind of, what your thoughts were
Maybe
on
who
that?
was investing as well, right?
Yeah. So, obviously it was high net worth individuals, accredited investors that I worked with that just simply had some cash on the side. They typically had a lot of their own businesses up and running, and then also invested in physical real estate as well themselves. But to have that extra cash, and, I like to recommend the alternatives being about 30% of someone's portfolio, because it is completely passive. I think that would be my favorite part about it, understanding how a business is run and all that goes into it, and still being able to have your money in the real estate market and working for you. I think that's the best thing about the alternatives. And then as well, I mean, we go back to talking about the credit of the sponsors that we work with. I mean, we can show their track record. We can show, what the deal's projected. You can show all the numbers. It's like you can show the numbers of past investments as well. And it's just like, if they can meet those, I feel like it's reasonable to say that they know what they're doing and they'll continue to do it. Yeah, obviously, what happens in the market can always change. But we have sponsors that we work with that I still work with to this day that made it through COVID, that made it through '09 crash. So it's,
Well, and on top of that, right? So these high net worth folks, often business owners, so they've got a lot of wealth tied up in their business. Usually, they've made good money over the years, and so they've invested a lot in public markets, equities. In the real estate, it typically is less uncorrelated to what's going on in the stock market, right?
Yeah.
Not affected by, what happens to the S&P 500 index, right? And, to your point about, some of these sponsors that we're working with, here we sit in 2026. The last 6 years have been weird in the real estate world, right? I mean, weird in the stock market too, up and down, and Liberation Day and tariffs, and now things going on in the Middle East. But interest rate hikes, COVID, buying frenzy, all-time highs in real estate, and now interest rates being very high. I mean, it's been a weird environment to operate in real estate, and our sponsors have seen it, they've done it. We don't have really bad stories to tell about, hey, maybe we're not hitting what we thought we would in terms of returns, but there are a lot of folks out there doing a whole lot worse, right? And our sponsors are pretty rock solid as far as their performance during what has been a very difficult time to operate real estate in, which is cool to see.
That's why it's so important to have the due diligence that we have with our broker dealer and with our company.
Yeah, and I mean, I love it too. And you probably appreciate it. I know your dad does, because your dad was actually a client of ours. That's how I ended up meeting you.
Yeah.
But your dad's so high level. I mean, he tears deals apart because he's just a really savvy commercial real estate investor. And a lot of people don't realize with the alternatives, it's like, you could go out and do it yourself.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, getting the zoning in place, getting the, entitlements in place, getting something shovel ready if it's a development deal, that could take years to do. So like being able to tap into like a turnkey investment that's in a core market for as little as $50,000 or $100,000, that's like so powerful, really, when you wrap your head around it. It's just,
It is.
It's prepackaged.
Exactly.
And like you're saying, I mean, we do the due diligence on the sponsors and make sure that they're quality sponsors, but it can also be like an acquisition fund.
Yeah.
It could be a company that's not doing a development deal. They could be going out and buying 10 to 12 multifamily assets, doing some light renos to them, you know, from Texas up to the Carolinas. So you're saying 30% of somebody's portfolio, which is, you know, spot on. You get to know what the rest of their portfolio looks like, and then you can kind of plug some stuff in. Are they more income focused?
Yeah.
Are they more growth and income focused? Or maybe they're just growth focused. Maybe they make too much income. You know, when we're having that conversation with people, you know, you've had this a million times, like, what's your kind of process to go through to kind of gauge somebody to see maybe what the right alternative portfolio, you know, could be a fit for them? What are some questions that you might ask them?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the main question will always be, you know, what's your goals, what's your needs? You know, what do you expect out of this? Are you looking at something that's going to give you a return in the long run? Are you looking at having some income off of it? Do you want that to be tax sheltered? You know, where are you tax wise? What obviously what tax bracket are you in? That's an important one for what we do. But I would say the main question I would always ask is, you know, what do you want out of this? Do you want something long-term, short-term? You know, how liquid are you?
Right.
How are your needs for liquidity? And those are all very important things to understand. And I know that can be a hard conversation to jump into at first. Obviously, I like to get to know my clients as well. See kind of, you know, what their overall portfolio looks like and, you know, how we can actually best help them.
Well, it's always funny because we always ask the question. I mean, I always say this, you know, are you more income focused or are you more growth focused?
You know, I have clients that are both, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing
give
with
me
the
all of
alts.
it. Give me
Everybody
more.
says 50.
That's a good
Yeah.
thing with the alts. We can diversify them. We
Yeah.
can get you in some that are more growth and some that are more income.
Yeah, and we get it a lot where, you know, I mean, you know, we've recently helped some clients. Maybe they have like $400,000 cash, you know, sitting on the sideline. They're already invested in the stock market, which is so hectic to be invested into.
Yeah.
And they have, you know, some dry powder sitting on the sideline, maybe $400,000, and you can build a nice, well-rounded, diversified mix using these alts, have the real estate exposure, and you're not like watching it. I think Justin said it earlier today. You're not watching it like a ticker on the stock market. Like, what's the
Exactly.
value of my alt portfolio? You know, because we get clients all the time. I just talked to somebody the other day, and he's like, you could just hear it in his voice because just everything that's going on. But, you know, the market goes up and down. So
yeah, it's illiquid by design, right? I mean, these are long-term illiquid assets, right? I mean, you buy in real estate directly. You're not getting an appraisal every quarter, you know, personally, right?
Exactly.
You know, you believe in the fundamentals of the property that you're purchasing, right? Your purchase price relative to what you think you can sell it for in the future, because you're either doing value add or you believe it's just in the path of, you know, progress and gentrification. You know, typically there's a cash flow associated with it. You're renting it out to someone, you know, so you're less concerned about its value on a day-to-day basis, and you're more concerned about, you know, is my tenant paying rent on time?
Yeah.
And if you're outsourcing that concern, is my tenant paying rent on time, to someone else who can do it at scale,
Exactly.
there's really not that much to worry about on a day-to-day basis, right?
You know, you have your quarterly reports that you typically get.
Yeah.
They look good. You move on.
Exactly. You make sure that the distribution hits your bank account, and
There you go.
thumbs up and move on, right?
It's nice.
So let's switch it up a little. So, Katie, you're a Jupiter native,
I am.
right? And you recently just moved to Lafayette, Louisiana. How's that
did.
been going?
It's been going good. It's been an adjustment, of course, moving anywhere new is, but people out there are great. Definitely a market that can be tapped into as well. So I'm excited about growing our business out there a little bit.
There's a couple of big data center projects going on out
There's a lot of construction going on in Louisiana right
northern
now.
Louisiana. I've had some conversations with folks that are getting offers on farmland for development, right? Both for the data centers themselves, as well as, you know, some of the components, you know, some of the vendors that feed the data centers. You know, it sounds like kind of a land rush, you know.
There's so much raw land out there.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I noticed driving around. There's so much lots.
Listings for agricultural land. And we've done some exchanges where folks are selling farmland. And it's interesting, you know, you talk about generational real estate. I mean, more than buildings, farmland is generational real estate, right? So there's definitely opportunity there in Louisiana.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you were talking about somebody earlier too. I love the land 1031s, and you mentioned this too. It's like anytime we have somebody who's selling land or they own like large tracts of acreage, it's not cash flowing.
Right.
Exactly.
So you can sell the land,
Right.
1031 exchange into these DST portfolios, and turn that into a tax deferred exit that's cash flowing.
Yep.
Yeah, we always love seeing those. I love working on the land deals. But I mean, the Louisiana market that you're in is really cool too. You have New Orleans, obviously, which, how far are you from New Orleans?
About 2 hours.
2 hours. And then I stayed in Baton Rouge when we
That's
came
only
up
about
there.
45 minutes from us.
That is such a cool city. I loved staying there.
It is. But you have a lot of farmland on the outskirts of Baton Rouge.
Yeah. I mean, the whole northern part of the state is very rural. Right. And we do a fair amount of business in Texas as well. I know you've got some connections in kind of East Texas is, Houston is kind of Gulf Coast, right? Louisiana, there's definitely sort of a cultural connection there.
Yeah.
But same thing in Texas, a lot of ranch land, large exchanges, $1 million, $10 million, $100 million exchanges in Texas. The family that owned one of the ranches portrayed in the show Yellowstone sold for like 350 or 400 million in Texas a few years ago. Did very large 1031 exchanges. So you think, big cities.
Buying spree.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But you think big cities, right? But it's not just big cities. It's, the rural areas too have big dollars and people that need some of these strategies that you can, offer a solution they don't know about.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's really unique too, because relocating, from where you grew up in Jupiter, going to a new market, and we got to fly in and we did a lunch and learn with you in Lafayette, which was great. But there was a mix of professionals there. How has it been for you going into a new market? Who are you trying to network with? Who are like the core COIs that we always talk about that we want to?
Centers of influence, COI, for the folks that are uninitiated.
I would say in Lafayette, I wouldn't have looked at it like this. The commercial brokers out there know everybody. Yeah. I mean, I've had commercial brokers that I've come close with that have introduced me to so many other business professionals. Obviously the lawyers and the CPAs are great to connect with, but I would say out in Lafayette, the commercial brokers they're everywhere. They're out networking. I've already gotten a couple leads from commercial brokers out there. They're working.
Well, again, going back to the rural piece, in a rural area or a small town area, those guys cover some distance.
They do.
Those guys put some miles on their cars, just getting out and seeing people and, and chasing listings. They're, in a rural area, territory for a commercial broker is much larger than it is New York City. Your territory is a single neighborhood.
That's very true.
I always love we always talk about this with the legacy brokers that have been, doing real estate for 15, 20, 30 plus years.
And their dad did it and their granddad was a broker.
Yeah, it's the same out there.
Yeah.
Their book of business is just insane. Yeah. And, with what we do, we work a lot with, I call them power brokers, where it's like use the DST as kind of the carrot on the other side. A lot of people don't know about it. You have these clients that you probably sold the property to like 20, 30 years ago. Their kids aren't involved. It's appreciated a ton in value. So, I mean, are you seeing that a lot out there? Are you seeing a lot of brokers that have just been in the game for a long time? Or like Justin said, I mean, family brokers, like generational?
No, there are a couple brokerages out there that are all family run. It's been really interesting to see. I mean, there's one that a dad works there with a son. So they were cool to get to know. But it's been great. Definitely, the commercial brokers out there, they're traveling distance. I mean, some of the ones that live in Lafayette have properties like up in northern Louisiana, Baton Rouge, even one in New Orleans. I'm like, why are you driving that far?
Right. And it's just what they're used to.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. That's
the folks I was speaking to in Monroe who were involved in some of these data center, property sales, the broker that had listed a couple of those properties was in Baton Rouge. It's 2 hours, gotta be.
Exactly.
That's, practically Arkansas, right? That's far enough north. I said that the other day. I didn't actually know it was Arkansas. It is, in fact, Arkansas right that's north of Louisiana.
That is true.
We actually had a DST that came out like right in Lafayette.
We had a couple of deals. a couple of deals in the Lafayette area there. Some multifamily stuff.
So
Talking about the Gonzalez?
Yeah,
deals?
Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Yep.
There are a few groups there.
That just goes to show you. I mean, it's like in the path of, probably, I mean, it's already starting to pop, but that was a nice deal. I mean, how far was that? How far is Gonzalez from you?
About an hour 30, hour 45.
I think it's closer to Baton Rouge than
Yeah.
it is to Lafayette specifically. But it goes to show you, like, who's heard of Gonzales, Louisiana, right? Not people in California.
Until we had the DST, I had never heard of it.
Right, and it goes to show you. I mean, there's good real estate everywhere. Right?
Yeah, it is.
And it's not always now that deal, as most of our DSTs are, was very nice, right? New construction, Class A, professional management, but you can buy real estate of kind of any caliber, and so long as you buy it right and you operate it well, and you don't get over your skis with too much debt, you can make money buying real estate anywhere at pretty much any price.
Yeah.
Right. It's just about buying it right and operating it well.
Yeah. No, Lafayette's developed quite a bit. So my fiance went to school there. He played for the school out there. Every time I would go visit him, it was developed, but since we've moved back there, I mean, there are so many new places.
Yeah.
It was kind of a culture shock almost. From like taking it to like a little college town to now it's like, I mean, it's been featured in like magazines for being the best food in Louisiana, and it's developing. It's been cool to see.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think we can sit here and not talk about oil and gas.
Yeah,
also.
they love it there. They love it there.
I mean, in Louisiana and the surrounding areas too.
Yeah.
Maybe we talk a little bit about some of those, because even before you were with us, I mean, you had experience working with these drilling funds, high income earners, and the benefits of the IDCs, with oil and gas. How was that before? I mean, you did a lot of oil and gas investments for clients before, right?
Yeah, I did. And I mean, to this day, I'm still every year doing it for the same clientele. I think it's something for high income earners. It's a no brainer. I mean, obviously there's a lot of controversy in oil and gas right now, but if you really look into the fund itself, I mean, this is over a 10-year period. You're going to have highs and lows over 10 years. But I think for the most part, just that upfront tax deduction is a no brainer.
Well, so that's the intangible drilling costs, right? So investment in one of these funds, they take the money, they go out, they drill wells to produce oil and natural gas. But you put $100,000 or $1 million in, you get a large one-time upfront deduction that can be taken against income.
I mean, 80 to 90%.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It is, yeah.
And we always say, like, towards the tail end of the year, like September, October, it's like the Super Bowl.
Gets busy.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's doing end of the year tax planning. They're realizing, oh my gosh, I'm going to owe way more taxes than I thought. And the oil and gas stuff is a great bolt-on to at least, consider. And the companies we work with, they can run the tax analysis, for the clients too. So, I mean, it's kind of funny because September to December, 12/31 is like the Super Bowl for those oil and gas drilling funds. And then we always joke around, those guys probably like go sit on the beach, January, February.
The oil and gas guys? Oh, absolutely.
Because so
As
much
they
money
should.
flows in at the end of the year.
Well, and it used to be, I mean, it really used to be, years ago, not so many years ago, that all the money came in December.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, everybody came in December. And these groups have really, I think, worked hard both on their deal flow, right? The wells that they're participating in, as well as on their capital raising, to try to bring some money in earlier in the year.
Yeah, those early investor incentives have been really interesting.
Incentives.
I've seen them develop every year. I think they're getting better and better.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of value to these guys in getting some more money up front.
Yeah.
Because they can put the money to work sooner. And it used to be that you'd invest in one of these programs in 2026, and they, over the course of the next 12 months, pretty much all of 2027, they drill the wells. And so you really wouldn't see much in the way of, oil flow distribution, until 12 months after you invest.
Yeah.
But these days, because of, I think, where some of these groups are sourcing their wells and their deals from, as well as the fact that they're raising capital earlier. I mean, Q1 of next year, you're getting a distribution, right? You're getting your first distribution. And it might not be all the wells online, but, you're getting the cash flow 12 months sooner than you used to, which is pretty substantial. People seem to like that, right?
Yeah. It's always good seeing a return on your money.
Exactly.
I always say the oil and gas drilling funds for accredited and high income earners is like the best kept secret.
It is. Too, now these Roth conversions as well. That's been pretty interesting.
So before we go there, so the oil and gas, from what I've seen, for deductions against active income, just to say your earned income from your job, you know, especially W-2 employees, right? Business owners can do a lot of different things. You know, you can do different accounting. There's different entity structures and things like that. But for a W-2 employee, somebody's employed by somebody else, high income, it's tough. There's not a lot out there other than these oil and gas programs, right? Maybe you buy, you know, state income tax credits. If you're in a state that has income tax here in Florida, we don't have to worry about that. Right? So it is. And so many people, like a lot of what we talk about, so many people don't know about it, right? Yeah. So that is, you know, powerful strategy. And then you're talking Roth conversions, which I think has grown in popularity. You're starting to see it marketed a little bit because people realize the baby boomers and the Gen X, as they get to an age of retirement and they get to an age where they're having to take these RMDs, these required minimum distributions, they're realizing that, man, there's a lot of taxes that are coming out of these RMDs, man. All of a sudden I'm paying income tax again. And so if you can convert from your traditional IRA to your Roth IRA, Roth IRAs don't have required minimum distributions. They also don't have taxes for your heirs when your heirs inherit the account and take the money out, right? So talks about, because oil and gas plays into some of the RMDs or some of the Roth conversions as well.
Yeah, I had a client last year, actually. They did really well. Put $100,000 in from their traditional. The company was able to drop the value down to right about $29,000.
Wow.
Converted that out into a Roth, and then you get your distributions, and that value goes back up.
So you invest $100,000 in a traditional IRA. The investment company that you've invested with is able to get your investment valued after you invest, right? So they would get that valued for one reason or another, legitimately. Drop the value to, in this case, it was $29,000. So I mean, that's a 71%.
Yeah, which they actually quoted 50%,
so they
ended up
overshot.
getting it.
Yeah. Under promise, over deliver, that kind of thing.
Nothing wrong with that.
So you drop the value, right? So my $100,000 account value is now 29 by design, right? Correct. We're not freaking out because we're losing money.
No,
it's by design. And then when you roll that into the Roth, instead of paying taxes on $100,000,
you pay the taxes on that 29.
On the 29 in income.
Yeah.
And now it's in the Roth and it grows tax-free. It's after tax, grows tax-free.
Correct.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
it's definitely something that's growing.
Yeah.
I recently hired a new CPA, and at one point in the convo through the strategic tax plan, he said, "Hey, you guys should look into oil and gas." Right? And
you said, "Buddy, let me tell you."
Yeah.
So I'm like, I love that, because if somebody in your corner that's doing strategic tax planning for you isn't recommending, if it's the right fit, some oil and gas, at least to pencil out to see if it makes sense.
Look into it, right?
Or
As
the Roth
an
conversions.
option.
Either, those are such high level pieces, and that's how the rich stay richer and, get richer, whatever it is. I mean, that's how they keep the most money in their pockets. So when he said that, it was like music to my ears. I loved it because it kind of told me like, I think I made the right, decision.
Tells you a little bit about what this guy is and kind of how he goes about the tax planning. And you're like, this guy's looking for options, which is what you want.
Because how many times we run into it where you tell somebody about this stuff, they have no idea.
Yeah.
You're like, man, I can't believe your CPA just never brought this up. I mean, we can say that about all this stuff. We can say it about how many times we hear people not have any idea about oil and gas investments, the benefits, the Roth conversions, and then even the 1031. I mean, at the basic level, clients come to us after they sold the property and they go, "Oh my gosh, I paid $500,000 in taxes." And my CPA never mentioned, "Hey, why don't you consider doing a 1031?
Now, I don't want the CPAs in my network to be calling me up, yelling at me, right? Not to denigrate the CPAs, the accountants in the group. It's just their knowledge is so broad, right? They are responsible for knowing so much that it's very hard for them to be very specific and drill down very deep on these individual sort of esoteric topics, right? And so that's our value proposition.
Exactly.
I'm glad the CPAs aren't experts in 1031 exchange because it means I have a job, right?
Well, and plus, I mean, the CPAs, it's like a lot of the time people are coming to them, at the busy time of year. It's like, could you imagine having like 1,200 clients you're doing tax returns for? And then also somebody selling a property, they're trying to get in touch with you. It's like
on April 1st, your clients are like, hey, tell me about these strategies. And
December
you're like,
30th.
You're like, dude, call me in 3 weeks. We'll talk about it for next year.
Yeah.
Right? It's too late at this point, right?
Yeah, so we do a lot of education for CPA firms, law firms. And for that reason, I mean, to Justin's point, it's like they don't need to know everything. Right. But once they hear this stuff, they're like, oh my gosh, man, this would be, a good fit for my clients. But you got to do it before the end of the year.
I got a phone call from a CPA. This is jogging my memory. It was December 29th, maybe December 30th. He had a prospective client reach out to him on December 30th. Prospective client reach out to him because this prospective client expected to have a large income tax liability and wanted to meet with this accountant and look for some tax planning 2 days before the end of the year, right? And so the CPA called me because he knows that we do some of this oil and gas investing for income tax. And we had a sort of a laugh about a little late for this, bud. Let's have this conversation at least, 30 days prior. Yeah. So it is. It's tough. It's tough to be an accountant and have clients that can be difficult,
Tough to be an accountant. Yeah. I couldn't imagine,
A couple times a year. It's tough to be an accountant,
Yeah.
But yeah, we have great relationships with CPAs. As soon as they hear the programs that we have, they usually love them. I mean, we do a lot of lunch and learns on site for, CPA firms and law firms. And, one of them, we're doing another one for him here soon. But right after we got done doing the 1031 DST presentation, he came up to me and he goes, I don't need this myself, but my dad freaking needs this. He's in his 80s. He owns an industrial building. He joked around and said he got paid in cheeseburgers, because he knew all the tenants so well. He had owned it forever. And he was going to have a giant tax bill if he sold it, but, it was the perfect time to be passive. So sometimes you go in there and it's like they need it like personally, for a family member or something like that too.
It is very, it's very rewarding personally to talk to some of these people and provide a solution that has a meaningful impact. I mean, day one, right? I mean, with the 1031 exchanges that we're talking about, a lot of times you're talking about a deferral, a tax deferral of 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures sometimes, right? Millions, tens of millions, which, obviously a huge impact on inheritance and quality of life and those things. With the income tax, the oil and gas stuff, I mean, you're able to demonstrate a immediate impact, more money in their pocket. Mm-hmm. The Roth conversions as well. I mean, a lot of times that is very much like an estate planning thing. These people don't want to take money out of their IRA. They don't have a need. They've got other sources of income, right? And so all those required minimum distributions do is create more income tax.
Yeah.
Right? Which means there's less for their heirs, right? Less for their kids and their grandkids. And so if you can, do these things that on day one, just through your knowledge of the tax code, saves people money. Sure, we hope, we believe the investments will do well.
Yeah.
Also, but to be able to create that value immediately with the tax savings is very cool as well and very rewarding.
Well, we always, say, well, if you own commercial real estate investment properties, highly appreciated. You're going to have a big tax bill. You've been managing them forever. Maybe you want to sell, become more passive. You want to boat more, golf more. Maybe you want to buy an RV and travel
Land
around
yacht.
the US. We could say maybe you want to buy an RV and land at the Palm Beach motorcoach.
Yeah, there you go. I'll show them around.
Katie, you're getting married soon.
I am.
Congrats.
Thank you.
You have Aubrey, your daughter.
Yes.
How old is she now?
She's going to be 4 next week.
Wow.
Can't believe it.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Let's talk a little bit about what drives you. What drives you every day?
Definitely my family, I think. And that's been nice to have. Obviously, being an athlete, I was always competitive in that sense. But to actually have a purpose now is quite nice.
Well, you graduate from college. You're no longer playing sports, and you're like a little bit adrift. Right?
Yeah,
You've got less
is.
structure.
Yeah.
And then I mean, you and I, just recently had
Yeah.
children of our own. I mean, it's definitely is a mindset shift, right?
Yeah.
And you get a team now, right? You're back on a team.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it gives me more of an appreciation for like my clients that are doing the estate planning and,
Yeah.
you know, want to leave as much money as they possibly can to their kids and their grandkids. It's like, that's all I want for her. So definitely gave me that background and that understanding to have with my clientele as well.
Yeah.
Man, that it does expand your mind quite a bit.
Hey, that's where the time management comes in well too.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Yeah, I thought I was busy before.
Oh,
Right. And realized that different kind of busy with a 3-month-old.
never have a second to yourself anymore.
Yeah.
But hey, I love it. Enjoy every second of it.
Well, Katie, we love having you on the team. It's been absolutely incredible. You're a rock star, and it's just the beginning.
It is. I've loved it so far. This has been great.
Yeah, this has been
Couldn't
so
have been
fun.
a better fit.
It is. You fit perfectly under the team, so we appreciate you jumping on the podcast with us.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so
This has been great.
we'll have you on again. And guys, thanks for listening today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.